All right. Welcome back to the fucking clown show. I'm your host, Doink the Clown. The theme of today's show is I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. I'll see if I can hold true to that theme. I'm here to recap UFC 307. I'm going to start at the top with something I did get right. Alex Pereira, TKO and Khalil Roundtree. Don't get me wrong, I still managed to lose money on it. But yeah, I did think this was a favorable matchup for Pereira. I do think Roundtree gave himself an excellent shot. I think his stock went way up. He fought with balls, which he needed to do to give himself a shot at winning, and I thought he looked phenomenal in defeat. I'd hate to make that the headline because Pereira, I don't know, he tied some record or something or another with title defenses and yada, yada, yada. His legacy just continues to grow. He's my favorite champion, I want to say, without giving it too much thought. He's just like Kevin Holland as champion. He fights every 3 months. He steps up on short notice. He's got balls of steel in the first place, but he happens to be the most deadly guy in the sport, which always helps. So yeah, he's just phenomenal, and Roundtree too. I mean, I don't Roundtree. His next fight could headline a fight night event easily, or he might be used to beef up a pay per view. But he's a contender still, 5-1 or whatever in his last six. And with the way he fought against Pereira, I think his stock went way up. That was fucking awesome. And look, he did not get knocked out. I thought his chin looked good. I thought he was kind of just beaten down here, even though I think he was actually up uh, in the first two rounds on the judges' scorecards in one way or another. But he was giving himself a great shot by being aggressive. He was the faster guy, but he had to go through the fucking Terminator, where it's steel hitting your face every time you get hit. And Pineda just made sure he got hit. A lot of safe strikes, jabs, and whatever, but he was playing the long game, and he still, in the end, managed to look like a killer, being very reserved. So it was just a great performance from both guys, really, and they gave us an excellent main event. Really was great and saved the card in a lot of ways. The main event, the main card. The next fight, Juliana Pena defeated Raquel Pennington by split decision. And look, I'm not going to carry on about decisions or whatever, especially because when I do very well, I always get decisions that go my way that shouldn't. But here, even though I disagreed with a lot of decisions, this is the one that I would bitch about, and I am going to take the time to bitch about. Who the fuck am I kidding? I did think Pennington won. I still thought Juliana fought well, but whatever. The scorecard is the scorecard, and I thought Pennington won 1, 4, and 5. And I thought it was kind of clear as well. I think this was a bad decision. I don't know if I can call it a robbery, but it's definitely a bad decision. Jose Aldo I thought won as well, which I'll get to in a minute, but I can't say that was a bad decision at all. But this one I think was bad. And Pennington, sucks to lose your title like that, but she's no longer the champion, and she's not like the most exciting fighter where she's going to be getting an immediate rematch or any way to make this right. I think this just didn't go her way, and it really sucks to lose everything like that. But Juliana Pena was able to take her down in those middle rounds, and I thought she did fight well. She was dropped in the end, which was a pivotal moment in the fight in round four, I believe. But she still looked tough as ever and as aggressive as I remember, and she gave herself a shot at winning the title. And I thought she was fighting well in round five, but I thought she lost round five. Either way, I think, not to be whatever, she's the more exciting champion, I do think. And her next fight is going to be interesting. If it's Kayla Harrison, that's going to be a fight with a great build up, and I do think it will be exciting. That's going to be a great clash there. And I'll get to Kayla in a few minutes as well. But yeah, not the most thrilling fight, but still one that came down to round five. So as far as the viewing experience goes, I thought it was awesome. Can't say the decision was awesome, but cool to have Juliana back as champion, I guess. Mario Batista defeated Jose Aldo. Look, like I said, I scored it for Aldo, but whatever. Kind of like the Marab fight. It was like a 3 round version of the Marab fight. Just Mario wasn't as relentless and in the face of Jose Aldo, but that's because he was kind of inside on him where he was stuck to him like glue instantly. And this was just a big clinch fest. But like I said, I can score for Aldo or whatever, but I can't disagree. I can't say this is even a bad decision because Mario Batista wasn't hurt and he was pressuring. He wasn't able to succeed with his game plan, but I'm sure game plan B was to pin Jose Aldo in one way or another. And Joe, I don't even know the numbers. Jose may have landed more. I feel like Jose was doing better when there were strikes being thrown, but Mario Batista, in general, neutralized that game plan from Jose Aldo. So, whatever. Dog shit fight, but Mario Batista's got a lot of momentum, and Jose Aldo, even though this wasn't the cleanest defeat, beating him is still awesome for your resume. So he's like a still a bona fide contender. And yeah, this was just one of those disappointing fights. I mean, it wasn't even good like Marlon Moraes versus Jose Aldo. This was just dog shit. And yeah, for Aldo, look, I have to say, Jose Aldo, just like with Marab, he neutralized Marab's game plan, but he wasn't able to stop game plan B. He's just too old, too slow, and whatever. And I thought he would have been able to win this fight more decisively, but he was not active enough to make anything decisive about it. Roman Dolidze beat Kevin Holland. That sucked. I mean, I thought it would have been an awesome fight and it was fun, but I saw Kevin Holland get injured and scream in slow mo. And yeah, he was injured. I do think Roman Dolidze would have been able to control him and was the stronger guy, and I think he had figured it out by that point. But I still think Kevin Holland was nowhere near done fighting. So whatever. This was not a great result. Nothing decisive about it. But yeah, uh, whatever. This shit happens in MMA. If I can quote Gus Johnson, whatever. Kayla Harrison defeated Ketlin Vieira. And yeah, I did waste money on Ketlin Vieira, and I didn't feel like it was the biggest waste. I think she did well in general with Kayla Harrison. I thought she was defending takedowns well compared to even how Raquel or Juliana might do with her. Ketlin was perhaps the most dangerous matchup or difficult matchup of all three girls, and she gave her a good battle, good enough, but nowhere near decisive enough to have won the fight. And Kayla, in the end, her grappling was the difference. And she was able to get Ketlin down, and she did ragdoll her a few times. Wasn't complete dominance or anything close, and a lot of it was Ketlin's takedown defense holding up. But kind of like Jose Aldo, she was never really on the attack in those moments, and Kayla did get her down. So it's perhaps the least dominant we'll see Kayla Harrison look. And I kind of expected that, to be honest. As soon as I heard this matchup, I said, "Oh, that could be difficult." Ketlin, she's a difficult girl to just bulldoze, and it could be more of a grind, and it was. But in the end, it was still a decisive victory over a very solid girl who many would argue beat Raquel Pennington not long ago. So yeah, Kayla moves on, and look, she talks so much shit, and she does it so well. Where she performed so well at the press conference that even if she won by disqualification here and it was bullshit or whatever, she's getting the title shot because she makes shit happen. And of course, she's a special fighter. She's not just your regular UFC newcomer. So yeah, and of course she's already beaten Holly Holm and Ketlin Vieira in her first 2 fights. So she's more than established, and nothing but the title fight is next for her. Buckley beat Stephen Thompson. This kind of broke my heart, to be honest. I'm a Stephen Wonderboy Thompson guy more than I am anyone else. And that's not why I picked him and bet on him. I really thought this was a favorable matchup for him if he was able to defend the takedowns and whatever, which he was. I mean, Buckley still crowded him and got him down, but I thought Wonder Boy did a good job making this a kickboxing bout, and I did think in general he was sharper. But Buckley, in a fight where I had him down 2 rounds, I know it was pretty close. Really, I don't. It could have been 2 rounds for Buckley, but I know Buckley fought like he was down 2 rounds. There was no doubt about it. That guy was told before he went out there, you're down, you need a knockout. And he forced it. He made shit happen. He was aggressive. He was saying, fuck it, fuck my chin, which is definitely a concern of his. And he said, fuck it. I got to put my concerns about my chin aside and see if I can make something happen. And wouldn't you know it, he's that dangerous, and that is what I attribute this knockout to more than Wonder Boy being 41. You know, if Wonder Boy gets knocked out a few more times, then we could look back in retrospect and say, yeah, his chin was gone or whatever. He's 41 years old. But Buckley's only the second guy to do it, and he did so because he's that dangerous. And his danger was kept at bay throughout most of this fight, but then he put his foot on the gas when he needed to and beat one of the best welterweights of his generation. I mean, Wonder Boy's generation. I should just say Wonder Boy. Either way, Buckley he was a bona fide welterweight contender before this fight. I feel like, you fight Wonder Boy, you're in contendership or whatever. But now with this type of finish, yeah, he's in the realm of filling in for a title fight on short notice or whatever. He's there. So excellent win for Buckley. And yeah, sucks for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I can't say, oh, he's got a bad chin. Of course, next time you'll hear me say, hey, he's 42 now and he's been knocked out in his last fight and whatever. But I still think Wonder Boy is very sharp offensively. I don't know if he's lost a step or whatever, but I did think he was definitely favored to win the decision if it went there against Buckley, and that's no easy feat. So he still looks awesome in general, but yeah, this could change it. That might have been a pivotal punch. Either way, he's got some recovering to do. Yasmin Lucindo beat Marina Rodriguez by split decision. All right. I disagreed with this one. Imagine that. My pick and my bet is what I had winning. But this was still an interesting fight with some bullshit. What happened? She was putting her chin in the eye and she got stood up from the mount. Just some sloppy fighting. But with the way the fight played out, with the stand ups and whatever else, I did think Marina outpointed her in rounds 1 and 3. Still, Yasmin Lucindo in all 3 rounds was able to take Marina Rodriguez to the ground. Maybe a little too late in the end in round 1, but she still made that a thing. And in the end, that's what won her the fight. I thought that's what she needed to do. I expected her to be in the kickboxing bout, but the grappling bout was going to be hers, and she got some easy takedowns. And like Joe Rogan said, Marina Rodriguez is the number 7, number 8 fighter in the world, whatever she's ranked, and she looked lost on the ground. On her back again. I've seen her lace up that Darce choke on Mackenzie Dern, and she's definitely got more tricks up her sleeve, and she knows what grappling is. But yeah, she had a really hard time when she had half guard, uh, fighting her way for underhooks and getting up the whole fight. So yeah, she's got to get stronger, change her body, or really focus on grappling. But good win for Yasmin Lucindo. Again, even if I disagree with the decision, it wasn't a bad decision. Could have gone either way, and it went her way with a grappling. Alexander Hernandez beat Austin Hubbard by split decision. This was one where I was really trying to make the case for Austin Hubbard in my head, but Hernandez should have won this fight. I do think Hubbard was the last man standing and gave a good effort in round 3, but in rounds 1 and 2, Hernandez was just faster. He was a half step ahead of him, and the takedowns weren't a thing. I don't think Austin Hubbard got one takedown, or if he did, nothing came of it. But Hernandez's takedown defense was there for him this whole fight. And I do think that was kind of solved on the athletic level going in, where he was just always going to win that battle unless he got really fucking fatigued. But Hubbard wasn't able to fatigue him. Hernandez was kept relatively safe. He ate some good shots, and both guys stood strong. But Hernandez was able to win the points battle. So yeah, that was a split decision. But I really think Hernandez definitely won that fight. I actually want to see which round the dissenting judge gave to Hubbard, other than round three. Cesar Almeida beat Ihor Potieria. That was a fun fight. Fun fight. Ihor Potieria. He did have a grappling advantage, I thought, going into the fight, but I have to say the real pivotal moment was that guillotine choke. That was awesome from Cesar Almeida, and I was really rooting for him in that moment just to see a submission victory for him like that in the UFC. Came close, wasn't able to get it, but still maintained the mount for the rest of that round, round two, I believe. And yeah, in general, he was just better than Ihor Potieria, but Potieria still was able to lose a fight by decision, and that's impressive because he's a guy who typically gets finished. But yeah, this was a sloppy affair, and yeah, I have to mention the fouls. There were a ton of fouls in this fight. Cesar Almeida was doing everything in the book. John Anik was getting angry, and look, I'm definitely a John Anik guy, but I think he should let DC joke around. If you caught that moment when Cormier is laughing at the moment, it's pointing out the absurdity just as much as John Anik fuming over the shitty referee job. But Anik's a passionate guy and whatever. Either way, Cesar Almeida got a clean victory here and a sloppy but fun affair. And the referee may have changed the course of that fight with his abdication of his duty. How do you like that word? But he still was the better man, I thought, as far as the action went. Ryan Spann defeated Ovin St. Preux. This was a guillotine in 90 seconds. Ovin St. Preux, I thought, was going to win this fight. I thought he'd be able to catch Ryan Spann with that tricky left hand, and he hit him with a beautiful left hand at one point, but that was his only offense. I thought he looked uncomfortable. I don't think he was really rocked in the end. He was just like scared of the power, and he kind of stumbled around, and Spann just said, fuck it, I just want to end this shit. And he just swarmed him and wait till he got his neck down and laced up that guillotine. Ryan Spann, he's very dangerous. And that guillotine choke is easily his best weapon. It's probably one of the best overall light heavyweight weapons. And yeah, Ovin St. Preux, even though he's 41 and whatever, he's not the most difficult guy to finish the most easy guy to finish like that. So it was a great win for Ryan Spann. Fucking, this one could be dismissed. Oh, he fought the ghost of OSP, but he still got whatever, his 13th submission, and God knows how many guillotines he's got. Tisha Pennington beat Carla Esparza. This was a close fight. I really thought it could have gone either way. I did think Carla was able to make her grappling a big part of the fight, but not big enough to be a clear victory. And Tisha was better on the feet. I thought Carla was able to rely a little more on her striking down the stretch. She put together some nice attacks and really just blitzed forward because Tisha was winning the range battle. But Tisha still did win the range battle overall and obviously had enough of the fight standing to win a decision. Close one, could have gone either way, and it sucks that it didn't for Carla in that moment, I guess. But she still got a nice moment after the fight with the whole celebration and the video. Really cool, the UFC to put that on. And yeah, she's a two-time champion. So she may have been in the second fight on this pay-per-view card here, but it was great for her to get her moment like that. And for Tisha, this is one where she scratched and clawed for the victory. And for a girl that's coming off of two losses that arguably could have gone her way, it is good for her to regain momentum. And even though Carla, it would have been nice to see her get the victory because she was retiring, Tisha's moving forward in the division, and she's still one of the best strawweights in the world. And Court McGee, just to prove I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, wins by submission in round one. Court McGee, I remember knowing he had submission skills. And I remember thinking that when he was on The Ultimate Fighter. But it's just, this was probably the last result I expected. I thought Court looked really sharp, and I really thought Tim Means looked flat. Not to take away from Court McGee's victory, because again, he looked sharp. But Court, I thought, would have been a little physically stronger on the inside, and that would have resulted in some good clinch time, some good cage control. And instead, there might have been like 10 seconds of that, but he was ragdolling Tim Means and all over him. And he forced a stoppage inside round one, submitting Tim Means with a neck crank. And yeah, Tim did hurt his neck there or whatever. Well, I should say Court hurt his neck. Regardless, great fucking victory for Court McGee. I mean, great victory. He could have won by a decision. It would have been a good victory. But for him to win like this was a pleasant surprise. I picked Tim Means to win, so I guess I was rooting for him. But this one I didn't have anything invested in, and it was just nice to see one of these guys kind of come alive like that at 40 years old. But yeah, it sucks for Tim Means. Hopefully he's okay and whatever. And this wasn't the prettiest loss of round one submission, but at the very least, at least he wasn't knocked out like he was in his last fight. Still, though, both guys are in the twilight of their careers, but Court McGee, yeah, got a gigantic victory. That was fucking awesome. Great moment for Court. And a horrible moment for MMA Al Dente, UFC 307, The Fucking Disaster. That's the official title in my head. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.